I expected the uproar over Sydney Sweeney's American Eagle ad campaign to largely die down over the weekend, but the opposite happened, and we've actually unveiled a whole new layer of the controversy. One particular clip from American Eagle and Sydney Sweeney's collab with them has gotten a lot of attention and is now being accused of spreading eugenicist, racist propaganda. And that is because, I don't know if this even needs to be explained to you guys, but some people weren't aware. They played on the double entendre of Sydney Sweeney's jeans, the pants, and Sydney Sweeney's genes in her DNA with a G instead of a J. So that was like the really clever wordplay that they employed here in the ad campaign. And this particular script that they wrote for Sydney Sweeney sent a lot of people into a tailspin. And it's also a reference to Brooke Shields' Calvin Klein commercial, which we'll talk about in a minute, but let's just watch this one.
Here we go.
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue.
Sydney Sweeney has very genes.
So that was it. And they're, of course, referencing the fact that Sydney Sweeney has blue eyes.
Yes.
In that line. So the reaction to this particular clip from the ad campaign was apoplectic. A lot of people saying that this is literally Hitler. What the F? I didn't expect this from them. Why would they take this direction? I'm scared that like now the right wing is headed in the direction of like sterilizing people who don't have blonde hair and blue eyes. And
ironic coming from the side that
a lot of conclusions.
Ironic coming from the side that likes to kill babies and tell people that they should just not they should abort kids if they have specific gene mutations. But
yeah, like interesting for people from the party of Planned Parenthood to be talking about eugenicists.
Margaret Sanger could never.
Yeah.
This was the tweet that set all of this off from Evan Loves Worf. He said, "Did they mean to include a bunch of Nazi dog whistles in this one?"
Yeah, that was the sentiment from the left. And then there was another TikToker who responded. We'll show that example here.
Yes.
We can't show them all, but this one was particularly, it kind of encapsulates all of it with, you know, the inclusive trans gay flag in the background and everything.
I can't, but the bull ring being like off center is
oh, that always peeves me. Yeah.
Should we be surprised that a company whose name is literally American Eagle is making fascist propaganda like this? Probably not, but it's still really shocking. Like a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman is talking about her good genes. Like, that is Nazi propaganda.
So what? I mean, are we just gonna all collectively pretend that they're not talking about her tits?
Yeah, that's what they're looking to do. If you're looking to get as much engagement on social media as possible, that's what we'll do.
I mean, they did reference her eye color. I get it. Okay, not gonna deny that part, but like clearly the rest of the ad campaign was written based on innuendo jokes about her breasts.
Yes.
Which, regardless of how you feel about it, is not Nazi propaganda.
It's also funny too because she's actually one of the more lopsided. Like her face isn't as symmetrical as some of the other celebrities of her class, right? She has a unique look about her.
I would say it's symmetrical, but she has a unique look. She looks reminiscent of like Shelley Duvall almost.
Okay.
Because she has these eyes that are like very downturned and wide, and she also has like, when her mouth is resting, you can like see her teeth, sort of. She has like these bunny teeth. She definitely has been, like, I would say like that's why she first got a lot of roles in like prestige drama television, because she has a unique.
She has an interesting face.
Look, she's not generic looking in any way, but yeah. So let's just park that aside. Like, I don't think anyone here with a working brain believes that this is pro-white propaganda, intentional or not. But what it was...
No, it's a Rorschach test to say, ask what's on your brain.
What it was, though, undeniably, like without question, is a reference to the 1980 Calvin Klein ad campaign that Brooke Shields filmed when she was 15 years old. And I was not aware of this, but some of you were commenting about it when we covered the ad campaign that Sydney Sweeney did last week, and I went and looked it up. This is the commercial for anyone who hasn't seen it or hasn't seen it in a while.
Okay, here we go.
The secret of life lies hidden in the genetic code. Genes are fundamental in determining the characteristics of an individual and passing on these characteristics to succeeding generations. Occasionally, certain conditions produce a structural change in the gene, which will bring about the process of evolution. This may occur in one or more of the following ways. Firstly, by selective mating, in which a single gene type proves superior in transmitting its genes to future generations. Secondly, by gene drift, in which certain genes may fade away while other genes persist. And finally, by natural selection, which filters out those genes better equipped than others to endure in the environment. This may result in the origin of an entirely new species, which brings us to Calvin's and the survival of the fittest.
Calvin Klein genes.
Okay.
And then there was also the tagline that she delivered at the time, what comes between me and my Calvins? Nothing. And that was interpreted as an innuendo about her not wearing underwear, which she claims nowadays that she was totally naive and unaware of at the time, and she didn't think that they intended it that way at all. It was very controversial when it came out, and it also raised their sales by like 300% or something crazy like that.
I bet you that took like 90 takes to get right.
It did. Yeah, she talked about that as well. But yeah, she was 15 in that ad, and that's just like scratching the surface of how messed up her childhood was as a child actor. But, you know, what I find more disturbing about that Sydney Sweeney script is than the, you know, stupid like racism scandal, which is totally made up, is the fact that they would invoke the Calvin Klein ad. I find that more questionable than any of the bogus allegations of like fascism or racism. I think that it's deserving of backlash that they would invoke the script from this commercial that obviously sexualizes a child. And if you were listening rather than watching, she's like, you know, first off, not wearing pants and then like contorting herself and doing all these different poses on camera. And, you know, then I looked into more about Brooke Shields' career, starting when she was extremely terrifyingly young. Some of you may be aware that she was photographed naked and covered in oil for Playboy when she was 10 years old. And she even, as a teenager, tried to take legal action to stop the sale of those photos and was unsuccessful.
Yep.
Because she was obviously, upon hindsight, very uncomfortable with it. And then also she filmed Pretty Baby when she was 11 years old, and that came out in 1978. There are also multiple scenes in that movie where she is fully nude and everything showing. And she's playing a child prostitute, and also filmed scenes where she is like kissing and touching adult men. And this is all, of course, with the approval of her stage mom that she defended for years, who also approved the Calvin Klein ad for the same reasons. And, you know, I watched a bunch of these old interviews with Brooke Shields where she was just getting like constantly questioned about her sexuality by adults when she was still a kid. And they were asking her about her virginity. And, you know, there was even a write-up about her when she was 13 after Pretty Baby came out, calling her a sultry mix of all-American virgin and whore, a 13-year-old girl. And like at the time, from what I've been able to gather through researching this, there was sort of a cultural swing to normalize and make acceptable pedophilia, basically. And then through the 80s and 90s, then it swung back, and then you could argue maybe that in the 2010s and like onward, we've seen a lot of normalizing sexualizing kids from like the LGBT lobby and other places. But like, I don't, to bring it back to the Sydney Sweeney ad, I don't think it's okay that they, like, I don't think they should get away with invoking the Brooke Shields ad as a cultural reference, given the context that we know about it now. That was a bad choice on their part, and I don't think that it's getting enough attention. It's almost like the racism aspect of the backlash is getting amplified, and then this aspect of it isn't getting enough attention at all.
I mean, nobody's going to make that connection. Like, no, like unless you're doing deep dives into this stuff, people aren't going to make that connection. And Sydney Sweeney's how old? 30? Like
Sydney Sweeney's 27, but referencing the script said by a 15-year-old.
I understand. I'm just saying I don't think that there's going to be no backlash because nobody's going to remember it.
Right.
Like what you're seeing with people talking about this, it's like this one that I laughed at this. Let's see if I can said they said this lady said that they need to pull the ads now because they're scary, and said sexualizing the F out of her and hinting at narcissism. I'm scared, man. The point being that she's a 27-year-old, so nobody's going to split hairs about them sexualizing her because that's only a cultural weapon when they want it to be. They're fine with people being sexualized on their terms. They're just not fine with it when it's, I guess, attractive, blonde-haired, blue-eyed white people. And that's where the focus is these days. It's on race. It's not on this other issue. And I think that the ad is a callback that's so far in the past and so niche that most people just don't remember or don't know.
Yeah, I know that you know, the racism aspect of it is inevitably going to get more
I guess
attention.
like I get it, but it's like because the woman in the ad now is of age, like people aren't going to have the same qualms because they're going to say, well, okay, that was 30 years ago, 30, 40 years ago,
1980.
Okay, so
ancient history.
But
now.
Sydney Sweeney is nothing if not an adult, so they're not going to carry the same water for that as they are the mystic or like the mysterious racism that isn't actually there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I just think if the backlash to this were coming from any honest place, it would be about the Brooke Shields reference and not about, you know, racism or anything else that people are talking about. And you know what else? Also, just from a brand perspective, like if I were a consultant for Sydney Sweeney's brand image, I would say she would make a bigger impact and also not face the backlash for a smaller paycheck if she did a sponsorship with Los Angeles Apparel, which is the new version of Dove Charney's American Apparel, which is trendy right now among Gen Z because they're like romanticizing the millennial indie sleaze era. And like that was always the style of how they photographed their models in American Apparel. Like it was intentionally pervy, and they could do, you know, the Meet Sydney Sweeney billboard ads that they always did with all their models. That would have gone over really well.
I think she wants to be as mainstream as possible, and I think that's however mainstream that is. That's not as mainstream as the amount of malls that have American Eagle in them.
I'm just saying, like, if you cared about the public response or the online response, like, I think if she did a brand deal with Los Angeles Apparel, it would have gone over much better.
Yeah. I think that, like I said, I think that something like this really is sort of a political Rorschach test. It tells you where your brain is these days. Like, what is the focus of your life? And for a lot of people, their focus is on white supremacy. So they
white supremacy.
So they see it everywhere.
I also have a criticism of the way they designed these sets. It's just so dreadfully beige. Like everything just has to be so lifeless beige.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. So this evokes to me closer to like that mid 2000s Canadian blue and green that I love from all their television shows because it's so not the blue and orange or the blue and yellow that we see in everything else. I'm okay with it. It's also very, there's not a lot of contrast there, which makes sense. That's the style of that advertising. But all that stuff was probably done in one day on a soundstage, and that's what you get.
This is the only like blue background that I'd even seen from it. The rest is just beige, everything beige, beige, beige. And I learned that there is allegedly an Operation Beige being weaponized on the public by corporations, and it's an acronym. Ready?
Yep.
Boring and engineered to identify with gentrification and eugenics. And they are saying that
We
the
should do a
Sydney
whole video
Sweeney,
on this.
the Sydney Sweeney campaign is exemplifying the last E in Operation Beige, which
The
is
eugenics.
which is using her face
She's
as
not even a real blonde.
propaganda tool
She's not
for
even a real
eugenics.
blonde. She's a fake blonde,
Isn't she?
right? I see roots
I'm pretty
showing.
sure she is.
There are roots
Well,
showing
she has
here.
she has highlights, but I think that she's just a dirty blonde. She has highlights though. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But yeah,
Here's the thing. What, like this ad or not, what's important is that they don't apologize and they don't say sorry, because we're going to get lots of ad campaigns in our lifetime. But what we need to get away from is the constant apologizing for ad campaigns and things that make you money, because their stock price shot up and they made a lot of money off something like this. They needn't say sorry. They need to just go forward with their ad campaign.
well, that was my next question. Do you think that they will?
Apologize? No. I think if this was 4 years ago, probably. Nah, but I don't think this ad campaign would have been made 4 years ago.
True. Both of those things are true. I don't know what to expect anymore.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.